All right, it's time to move on in our NCAA football win totals. We continue with the MAC. We started there because really win total wise, they're the worst conference. So we wanted to get through all those. We build our way up to some of the top conferences. We sit there with, we've done through Akron, Ball State, Bowling Green, Buffalo, Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan, Kent State, Miami, Ohio, and Northern Illinois last. Now we move on to Ohio. The Ohio Bobcats last year were pretty dang good. They won 10 games again for a second straight year. They were 10-3 last year. They opened with a loss against at San Diego State, but then they beat LIU, FAU, Iowa State, Bowling Green, and Kent State before they lost to Northern Illinois. They would also lose to Miami, Ohio later in the year, but end up finishing strong, winning their last three games. And then they would go to a bowl game. They played in the Myrtle Beach Bowl against Georgia Southern and took the win. But this team's going to look a lot different. They were hit hard in the transfer portal. First of all, Curtis Rourke is gone. That's their star quarterback. He is off to Indiana. They had a good backup with CJ Harris, but he moved on to Cal. So they bring in Parker Navarro. He's a veteran from UCF. He's going to get the first chance to start. I'm not horrendously impressed with him, though. He's not an amazing quarterback. I don't think he's going to be as good as Rourke, but he's going to have to step up. They do have a pretty good offensive line. It starts around with Parker Titsworth. The center's going to be the main guy. They're going to use transfer Anthony Tyus and junior Nolan McCormick in the backfield. The offense was all right, but they got decimated by the transfer portal. Pretty much everyone who caught a pass last year is gone. The top returning receiver is Chase Hendricks. He had 11 catches last year. On defense, the defense got beat up by the transfer portal as well. It wasn't a good defense to begin with. They've got to replace Bryce Houston, K.A. Thompson. Both of those are gone. Those were their top two tacklers. They're going to go with basically a unproven front and very little depth. So really, that's going to be the big concern. Further back in the secondary, Torrey Cox went off to Illinois. They do bring back their top safeties, but they don't have anything at corner. I'm very worried about the Ohio defense this year. They're going to have to score. Basically, the only way they're going to win games is scoring a ton of points. Last year, we saw this. The three losses came when they failed to get 17 points. The one time that they won by not giving 17 was a 10-7 win over Iowa State. So what we go on to as we look at their schedule, they're going to open the season at Syracuse with facing Kyle McCord there. They're going to lose that game. September 7th, they play South Alabama. South Alabama is in a similar situation in Ohio. A lot of transfers. They lost their head coach, unlike Ohio, but still, this is a team in flux. I put that as a toss-up game, though. I think that Ohio could easily lose that. They'll probably beat Morgan State, but then they'll lose to Kentucky before they open conference play September 28th at Akron. That's going to be a win. But then after the bye, it's Central Michigan and Miami on the road. Both those are probably losses. Then they play Buffalo at home. At that point, they could easily be on a 4-game losing streak. Even if not, I mean, that's a tough game. Buffalo's a toss-up. Then they have another bye. They go to Kent State. They should win that. Eastern Michigan, Toledo, and Ball State end the season. I definitely see them losing at least one, if not two games. I really only have 1 to 2 guaranteed wins for Ohio. That's Morgan State and Akron, and probably Kent State. So let's give them 3. And then everything else is kind of a toss-up. I don't think they're going to beat Miami. I can see them struggling with Toledo. I really don't think they could beat Central or Eastern Michigan. This should be a big step back for Ohio. They have back-to-back 10-win seasons, but in the 4th season under Tim Albin, I think this could be an issue. Tim Albin went 3-9 his first year, and then has gone 10-4 and 10-3 since. I'm not sure that Ohio can make enough of a jump with these new parts to get to their win total. Win total set at 6.5 games. The under is favored in most places. It's sitting at like -132 on FanDuel. Most places, it's pretty heavily favored on the under. There is one spot where the under is not heavily favored, and that's where we're going to take it. We're going to look at on ESPN, the under is sitting at minus 105. They're the only book with the over favored. We're going to jump on that. So the pick's going to be under 6.5 wins for Ohio. Still think they can make a bowl, but under 6.5 at minus 105. If you like these videos, please make sure to check them all out. Like them, comment on them. It helps the algorithm. Make sure to subscribe to either the YouTube or the TikTok, and then visit us on X and in the Discord. Thanks, and we'll see you next